people all over were reaching out. And I think for me, the people that were in place and had power were always coming up to me and being like, nah, you're the next big thing. You're doing this. You're doing everything right. Like, I'm always polite. I'm always making sure, like, I'm always crossing my T's and dotting my I's with everything. And then I got to a point where it was like, cool, I'm doing everything, but things are working, but they're not moving in the direction I wanted to go.
1 week you're putting this out and it's getting a certain reaction, and then the next week you're putting something else out and it's not getting the same reaction. Do you not think that like led to maybe audience confusion, where it's like, we like this version of Ripchord, but now Ripchord is giving us 4 other different versions? That
I think you lose yourself then, because you're not enjoying what you're doing. Because now I'm like, cool, I made that song last week, so now am I going to keep making the same thing over and over and over? And for me, I never wanted to keep recreating what I've done before.
Yeah, I think that is also just a problem. Entertainment is unfortunately the first thing that gets chopped for any budget.
Funny, bro. I actually had this chat with a wedding client recently, and I was like, so she came to me. She said, I'm booking you for my wedding, and I want to make sure this is done first before anything else, because I've been to so many weddings where it's beautiful, it's the best venue, the food is extravagant, and then they have a cock DJ.
I was like, I don't want to share as much personal life, because I was like, why am I making myself accessible to so many people? Like, it's not necessary. It's like, you hear so many scary stories where people will be like, oh, I saw you were at this place last week. But then you start thinking about it, it's like, okay, cool, people actually know my exact movements if I'm posting almost every single day and everything. And for me, it kind of became this thing. It's like, oh, I have to post. So for example, with music, I was like, cool, I have to keep posting because the algorithm. And if the more I post, then obviously the more things will work out. And then I just stopped posting, and then weirdly the opposite started happening. So then every time when I randomly started posting, I would have crazy engagement and then stop posting, and then, or I'd try to continue posting, but it wouldn't be the same.
Hey, this is Gremlin.
This is Kane.
Welcome to the Let's Talk Foreplay podcast. We've got a great episode lined up for you today.
With our guest.
Ripchord.
Yay, we took away his mic.
He just sits in the corner the whole day. We talk about his career as a DJ, producer, photographer, videographer, and everything else he's got going on in his life. It's a great episode. Wouldn't you agree, Kane?
Yeah, I think we did quite well with this one. He's not the initial guest that we hyped up, but he was a great guest nonetheless.
He keeps putting this guy down. He's a great guest. He was always part of our plans.
Yeah, he was.
So if you like the episode, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share with us any of your opinions, anything you have to say about our guests, anything you would like to see in future episodes, and enjoy. Peace.
Peace.
Yo, this is Gremlin.
This is Kane.
Welcome back to the Let's Talk Foreplay podcast.
Yeah, make a dubstep song here because we have Ripchord here. Do a beatbox here.
With very special guest Ripchord
sorry.
in the building.
I spoiled it.
Welcome.
Also, this wasn't the guest that we were hyping up.
Damn, bro.
Fair. I'm on the bench.
I'm sorry, man.
I was on the bench.
I'm
He
sorry.
is a super sub because he was supposed to be here next season, but we called
We actually called him up
early transfer.
Yeah.
Early transfer.
Like
They
real in the
cleared my
mo.
medical, and they were like, nah, it's good to go.
Yeah.
Knees are working fine, you know?
Debatable.
Kind of, yeah.
Debatable.
Welcome, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks for thank you for being here, man.
Thanks for...
What is the P on your cap for?
Planes. Also, same shirt, very cool, local guys doing dope stuff.
Fire.
Check them out.
What is it?
Planes.
P-L-E-I-N. Oh.
Plains.
Oh, like planes, like
plane.
a field.
Yeah.
Okay, dope. I actually like it.
Or like plain
also
as in
green.
plain vibes. Yeah.
So they do like a lot of minimalist. Also very, very good stuff.
Fire.
Shout out. Okay, cool. How you doing?
Good. Energy is back after the wonderful food we just had.
Needed
Low detour. You know, we were supposed to start earlier, but I think everything had to happen the way it had to happen.
Have you done a podcast before?
No.
Wow.
Nice.
Exclusive.
Okay, we love it.
Film and produce.
Brody, we got you a mic.
Yeah.
Brody has a
This
mic
one had
now.
One job.
Everybody.
Pull the
He has a
mic
mic.
closer when you want to talk.
Sorry.
So now it's
So it's clear now.
how good does that sound,
I can
Brody?
hear myself.
Hey.
It's okay.
Hey.
But you do film and
Yeah.
produce podcasts.
But Yeah, this is my first time on this side.
On this side.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's
On the
like-
good side.
Okay, so as with any
Hot
one
seat.
of our guests, yeah, hot seat, exactly. As for all of our guests, we just need a little intro for anybody that doesn't know who you are, what you do, what's your vibes, all of that stuff.
Like we spoke earlier, I said the easiest way for me to summarize this is I got into university for art, so illustration and painting. And high school, I was somewhat into music. I was virtual DJing my way through life.
Standard.
And my first or second year, I had friends that we had this party at Simmonsburg hostel. Stayed in Stellenbosch, and they had this one yearly party where they had some of the guys in the hostel. They would also perform, and they were like, "No, I need to go," and I was like, "I don't know if I'm ready for this," and they're like, "No, go do your thing," and I was like, "Cool." So I think, yeah, that was the first time I ever played to a crowd. So 2013, 2014, like proper in front of people. So that was while I was studying, and by 2020, I was already doing quite well. I did Red Bull Studios. I played almost everywhere, I would say, that you could play. I didn't really want to do photography and stuff like that, but it's something I'm doing now because I would say COVID happened and I was kind of forced into this thing of like, okay, cool, what do I do now? What can I explore? Because I've always been this person that I like exploring, and when I was studying, we got introduced to so many different things. So I was always playing around with drawing and music. And I think with my love of movies, I kind of stumbled into what I would say now doing photography, and I've been doing that for almost 5 years now. And yeah,
Only 5 years.
yeah. But
Oh,
I
it's
would
true.
say the thing is, this season already, I almost shot almost every day. So it's always this thing of okay, cool. If I'm shooting, I shot yesterday, shooting today, same vibe, but how can we make it different? So always pushing myself, always. Something I also learned through with music. I'm like, cool, if I'm making one genre, if I'm going to go to that genre, how can I make it my own, but with everything I know from this side? So always constantly redoing something, but how to improve it in little ways, learn and pick up little things on the way. And yeah, other than my vibe, I don't know, I guess I'm very nerdish.
Shout out Elevator Pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So DJ, producer, photographer, what is the other thing you mean?
Bodybuilder.
Pro gamer,
Not
Pokemon
even,
collector.
yeah, Pokemon cards, comic books. I think that's what got me into drawing and painting. My brother introduced me to comic books when I was a kid, and when I was always drawing every time, cartoon characters and stuff like that. Dragon Ball Z as well.
Yeah, well, we all started there in all
I had that little file with all your drawings, and you're like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
me. Even though I traced the first 4 drawings.
Yeah, same.
Did you guys ever do what was the speed and sound? Did you ever
Oh,
do
yes.
speed and sound
Love
drawings?
the speed and sound tracing, bro.
With
that was the
also
best,
with
bro.
certain pens that you could draw with. What else was there? And then music. I feel like music. I would. The way I describe it is, I feel like I'm always inspired by one medium to the other. So if I'm visually seeing something, I can already hear music in my head. And if I'm listening to music, I can already picture something in my head. So in one way or another, they're always going in a circle and always inspiring one another. And yeah, I think I would just say I am, I guess, a jack of all trades because I've always been inspired by creating in one way or another.
Very much so, bro. I think that's, for me, the best way to describe you. Like, you're good at a lot of creative mediums, and definitely you have, like, your vibe, like your visual work. Your music sounds like your visual work, and vice versa.
Yeah.
You have that sort of identity to your art in general. So, in general, you're just an artist, and it's pretty crazy that you say that you've only been in photography for 5 years, because you've worked with some insane names. Like, just run us through like some of the accomplishments you've had in the photography world.
I mean, I've worked with GQ, which led to Hugo Boss, which led to Glamour, Condé Nast. I did now recently like a passion project as well, where I worked with Pup Magazine. So it's a massive Korean online magazine feature, and I got to shoot something I've had in my head for like 2 years finally last year. And it was just mixing some stuff together. And yeah, I've got to work with some cool music artists as well, which is actually for me a cool way to also network, using that one talent to get closer to other people. And also like I would always say it's like this weird thing, like for example when I shot with Imanu, I was like, okay, cool, Imanu's sitting in my living room, this is a big deal. And he's just ironing stuff and we're just talking about music, but I kind of like that because it kind of set the like that. It wasn't like you in a club and you're trying to approach someone. Like we're just talking about day-to-day things. And even like now when we were hungry, both of us on that day were like, oh, energy's low, let's go get some food. Talking about that, talking about the differences between being there and how it feels to be here. So yeah, I've done a lot of cool and fun things.
And Vogue as well.
Yeah, that was through the Vogue for the Vogue magazine as well. So that was quite cool.
Just
Yeah, they're so casual
casual.
about it. Like it's Vogue, bro.
so above all of that, you still have a day job as well.
Yeah.
So run us through your day to day.
Day to day.
I thought photography was your day job.
No, it's my. By day I'm behind the desk. By night I'm fighting crime with a camera, or, making a theme song for my next villain.
Peter Parker.
So I work for a company in the UK, and I'm head of their post production. Head of post production for them.
Is it not Oxford?
Well, a lot of our stuff is based there, so.
Okay.
But we work with the university and stuff like that as well.
We're gonna name drop on your behalf because
Oh,
it feels
God.
like you don't want to
Yeah,
brag
feels
on
like
here. Yeah, you're being
I
very
didn't
modest,
realize.
bro.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So you work for Oxford University
No. But we work at the university.
in
Yeah,
the building.
Yes.
Oh.
So it's not the same. But
Yeah, we actually flew him down for this. Foreplay YouTube is
We're
finally
making
paying.
so much money.
So yeah, even with 50k UK flights now because of
That's crazy.
Damn, bro.
You have to bleep that because you can't say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Leave it, bro.
Kane.
At least I didn't say open a door.
You just did, bro. Snyders, if you hear that one, that's for you, buddy.
We keep bringing the advert in sooner and sooner in this podcast. It's like run the
We're gonna
advert,
start the ad.
run the
We're
ad.
gonna start the podcast with the
Run.
ad.
You're just gonna have a sound called "Run the Track."
Someone complained that we have too many ads on our podcast.
In the channel.
Yeah.
Like I saw someone complain like within the first 2 episodes of us being monetized in the comment section.
Like,
someone was
damn,
like,
bro, that's a good thing. We're making money
"Too much
finally.
ads, yeah.
Someone's gotta eat, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so
Brody's gotta eat.
and what does that day job entail? Like, what do you do there?
So everything that they're filming on that side, I will then take over the footage, and we're editing everything from the talks to they have podcasts as well. Sometimes I get to go there when they actually have the filming. So, for example, they're filming in June, so that means I'll go up to London, and then from there travel to Oxford, do second unit, and then fly back, get to work on those things as well, and it's just it keeps repeating, going back. And
At
forth.
least you can plug the SSD in directly.
That is true. It makes my life a lot quicker, a lot easier than having to rely on South African internet.
Yo, imagine having to download 300 gigs of something, bro.
That's little.
Oh,
Light work.
I have to sometimes download terabytes just for a project. But I mean,
but they pay for your internet.
undisclosed.
That's no wonder you could be a pro gamer in South Africa, bro. You got
You'd
Oxford paying for your internet.
You would think that, but then we still have 200 ping
Yeah, fairs.
because we don't have because we don't have South African servers.
Yeah,
Ja,
fairs.
mens get 'n NordVPN. Get a.
But that doesn't change your ping because
Yeah,
you
that
still have to
doesn't
go.
change
Oh
through
yeah,
your
you still have to go through. Oh, fair enough.
You've been watching too many
Too
side
many
men.
podcasts.
Side
Not
men.
even it's just podcasts in general, bro. They're all sponsored by like.
Nord
Nord
sponsor all the
VPN.
podcasts but this
Yeah.
one.
Nord,
Nord, pull up.
sort us out.
Send us dollars or pounds
Something,
or something.
bro.
I will gladly play games while they're talking.
So you're a United supporter.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. And
I was going to say, this is not a football podcast.
But we can talk about
No,
Nah,
not after last night. I'm just gonna move this bad boy just a little
Oh,
closer.
okay.
There you
Not
go.
as long as Cody Kakpo is still there.
Don't start, bro. Brody, thank you so much for taking your jacket off. It was so loud.
where
We
come
give you a mic, and the first thing you start doing is making nonsense here, bro.
Carry on in the pod, please.
So we're missing JTI tonight, unfortunately. He's
Had to do his big boy job.
big boy job. So talking about big boy jobs, we had Grandma's on here a couple of weeks ago, and the big thing that he spoke about was the freedom that he has in his creative side, in his art, because of the safety and security, financial security
Yeah.
of having a day job. So obviously, you know, having that gives you a lot of freedom to just express yourself however you want to with music.
Yeah.
You don't have that pressure of having to necessarily financially succeed from
Yeah.
music and DJing.
Yeah.
And of course, it's hard.
Yeah, I agree because I mean, with my job, I describe it as sculpting. I don't know, it's like you black out and you just work and work and work, and at the end of it, you're like, cool, it's done, without even realizing. And then for me, that doesn't drain me creatively. I can still, after working a whole day, I can be like, cool, now I'm gonna go shoot, or I'm gonna be working on music.
It's actually interesting.
Because I'm not feeling drained at work where I'm going like, oh, I have to now really think, okay, how am I going to make this interesting? How am I going to make this work? Because there's already a formula and everything's already in place.
Mm.
But when you're working, for example, like you said, with your music and everything like that, it's like, I think for me, the reason I guess I fell somewhat out of love with music is because I put a lot of pressure on myself in the beginning. So it was always like, oh, okay, cool, I did Red Bull Studios now. So I have to obviously keep pushing myself. I have to keep doing this, and I have to have a certain way of what I'm.
So, sorry, would
Oh,
you
okay.
say music was your number one at that time? Was that like this is what I need to do and this is how I'm going to succeed with myself?
The thing is, if I have to tell you how music was when I started DJing, and that was like, what, 2014, 2015, I don't know, it was just so different. The people going out, like no one wanted to be, no one wanted to be on their phones. It was a thing of like, if I'm playing something and the music just sounded good, you would get the crowd reaction, you would get respect from the crowd. And the later time went on, more people wanted to hear stuff that they knew at home. So you'd have, I will never forget the first time when Rumble came out. So I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna play this. And everyone lost their mind because they're like, oh, we know this track. And the moment it got after the first, maybe the first 16 bar, energy just dropped down again. Because they're like, oh, the song's gone on too far now. We don't know the rest of the song because TikTok never showed us that part of the song.
Jack Harlow theory.
Yeah.
What
It's blacker than ever now.
we should. That was so wild, bro.
That Cappy sitting like this now.
Fucking hell. Jack, my brother.
And you said brother because they're both white.
And the album's name is Monica. That's crazy.
No! Monica!
It's insane. Crazy, bro. Yeah.
But how did that shift feel, obviously, from, like music being your priority and your main focus and this has to be my number one, to shifting to other mediums?
I think for me, the big thing at that point was like, I was getting booked for everything. I was getting people all over were reaching out. And I think for me, the people that were in place and had power were always coming up to me and being like, nah, you're the next big thing. You're doing this. You're doing everything right. Like, I'm always polite. I'm always making sure, I'm always crossing my T's and dotting my I's with everything. And then it got to a point where it was like, cool, I'm doing everything, but things are working, but they're not moving in the direction I wanted to go. And things were getting quite well. But then for me, it became very toxic because then I was putting so much pressure on myself. I was putting... I'm like, cool, that song was cool. But then the next thing I put out, I was like, but now it's not performing as well. Or it's not getting the same attention it was before. And I just put so much energy. And for me, it was a thing of I don't know, there was once, I think it was Joe Budden and they were talking about the how strong you are as an artist to go with being heard. I don't know if that makes sense. So basically heard or being seen.
Oh, yeah.
So how long you can hold without... with the inability to be seen, the
Without
point
the
where,
attention and validation, yeah.
which is not what you actually want. What you actually want is just to create and have fun. I think that's why with work now and also photography, my shift with music has just been like, oh, I'm back to kind of enjoying it. I'm just, and I also, for me, that's why I think I'm enjoying photography more, because I never had formal training with photography. Like if you had to bring up a bunch of famous photographers, I'll be like, I have no idea. Or you could show me a picture, I'd be like, I know that picture, but I don't know who that person is.
Yeah.
But with music, I could tell you from drum patterns to the sample they use to the background. So for me, there was always that. It's like a self-comparison thing. Like I'm always like, oh, this sounds cool what I'm doing, but it sounds like this, or it's not as good as that. With photography, I'm just going like, cool shot. I'm
So
very
right,
happy with that. Happy with the visuals.
Comparison is the killer of joy.
Thief.
Joy,
Thief
yeah.
of joy.
I think it's also because you are so attached to the music, because maybe those few opinions that you had so early, you know, when you're in your early 20s, mid 20s, like hearing things like you're the next best thing, or like this is going to be it for you, like that plants something in your brain. So that pressure does start to build. And then the other things that you have no attachment to, like it, whether it's a photo or whether it's work for your day job or something like that, that's just, it's almost somebody else's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though it's your work, it's not something that is like, this is Ripchord.
Yeah.
That's just, you know.
And I think even with the name, for example, with the stage name, like the funny thing is the name came from watching, I think it was G.I. Joe. Was it the first one with Channing Tatum and Marlon Wayans?
Yeah.
And Marlon's character's name is Ripcord, and I was like, that sounds like what I do. That sounds like my sound and everything. Because for me, that was the big thing about choosing my name, was finding a name that suited me and my sound. And I got with that name, and then I kind of liked the idea of always being the person that was doing everything. Like I didn't want to stick to one thing. I didn't want to make only dubstep. I didn't want to make only garage music. I didn't want to only make like future bass. Like I always wanted to keep playing around and keep experimenting, keep learning, keep just making what feels good, you know?
Do you not think that like contributed to, like what you're saying, one week you're putting this out and it's getting a certain reaction, and then the next week you're putting something else out and it's not getting the same reaction? Do you not think that like led to maybe audience confusion, where it's like, we like this version of Ripcord, but now Ripcord is giving us 4 other different versions that we don't necessarily like?
No, I agree with you. And I think after a couple of years, I was like, I mean, I guess, but for me, then you lose yourself then, because you're not enjoying what you're doing. Because now I'm like, cool, I made that song last week, so now am I going to keep making the same thing over and over and over? And for me, I never wanted to keep recreating what I've done before. So I'm always pushing my sound. I'm always pushing myself. That's why I think for me, it's like, yes, I understand you grow an audience by making this sound. And you can see it with so many artists, like Flume is a good example. He's just, in the beginning, he was just remixing everyone, but he was using his sound. But the more he got his bass, then he started experimenting, obviously. So it was this thing of like, you should, yes, be building your sound as an artist and everything, but for me, I just loved making everything. Maybe I didn't have to share it with everyone. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, that is a different chat, yeah.
And I think even with like my time when I was putting out so much music, that's the other thing as well. Back then, I was just making a song, I put it out. No strings attached. And then after like, I guess 2019, I was like, the catalog is endless now. I'm just like, oh, cool songs done. But now my brain's thinking, okay, how am I going to sell this? How am I going to pitch it to labels? But again, a label could be wrong. A label could tell you, no, it's not what we want. Or you could get no response, and that already in my head would be like, oh, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
But in today's world, you can do without it. You have social media, but I just don't have the power in me to TikTok it out, you know.
So let's talk about that, bro, because
Well,
you
before
have...
we go into that, sorry, we're talking about the fact that you've made music, you've DJ'd, but we haven't exactly, in your specific sound, we haven't exactly covered what genre that is for the people that are viewing this and don't know who you are. What genre would you classify?
Okay, this is my favorite question, because everyone's always like, oh, what do you play? What do you make? And I'm always like,
Everything.
I'm always like, yeah, underground bass. But I think a good example, so, you've met Otis. I remember we studied together. He was 2 years older than me, and I told him exactly like, this is what I like. So I told him I like hip hop. I told him I love classical music. I love like very eerie and dark stuff. And he was like, oh, cool, check out Clams Casino. I was like, who? Started listening to Clams, and I was like, this is exactly what I want to make. and I was so obsessed with like listening to clams and everything like that. And for me, it was always this thing of like, again, for me it was a visual language what music was. So I grew up with my brother showing me Blade, showing me horror movies when I was 4 or 5 years old, and I was into very dark stuff. But for me, that became my audio language. Like I loved having very dramatic intros, very dramatic chords, and I always said like scary music. But short answer is that I loved, like I got into dubstep, and then from that I went into trap music. I went into drum and bass, garage, because also burial,
Jersey,
ballet funk,
Bali.
aka
If you know, you know.
yeah, exactly. Which is now actually apparently called favela bass, but
Yeah, they're earning it. I love it.
yeah,
That's
I
a
love it.
dope name.
Favela
though.
bass is
That's a hard
crazy.
name.
shout out to Karani.
But Bali Funk is also a
Bali
dope
Funk's
name
also
too.
dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. So yeah, for me that's my sound. I was always the guy on the lineup playing the weird stuff. Even I mean,
Oh yeah, 1000%. Yeah, that's
when I was
how
playing Waiting Room, I was like, cool, I know it's a hip hop party, but I'm still gonna try and do me. So I was playing remixes of
Yeah.
Bad and Bougie, but it was Mr. Carmack a beat
Mm.
under it, or I was playing.
Work, Ferg work.
But I was playing the Ikali
crazy
remix.
remix. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember those nights walking in and then it's Ripchord playing. It's like, yeah, this is great.
But that was my thing always. Like, I know, yes, this party is a hip hop party, but I'm getting booked, one, because people are like, cool, you play cool music. Come do this at our party. And I was like, cool, I'll do it. But I never wanted to, because we can all play ASAP Ferg.
Yeah, 1000%.
And someone's going to play the original. I'm like, cool, I'm going to play what people know, but I'm going to play it my way and what I know. So introducing you the element that you know, but also a piece of me.
Yeah. But do you not like think about that era again? People were so much more receptive to that kind of thing.
That is true.
Like you could go 2019 Daisies, go play a Bali Funk edit of something and people would lose their minds, you know. You can go to Waiting Room, play A$AP Ferg Work remix and people would enjoy it. There's just not that element in today's nightlife.
I think in South Africa's nightlife, no. I'm trying to think a space. The only spaces where I think you can get away with it is when you're forcing the crowd to take away their phones, in a weird way. There's
So
do you know-
modular.
I mean, there are other parties where they tell you no, like they stick up your phone and everything, because then it's like, oh, now I can't be taking selfies or I can't do this, so I have to actually just listen to the music. So it's a very different energy. Like people are forced to kind of just be like, cool, I'm in the crowd, I have to make the most of it. But they
Yeah.
also know going to this space, you can't go there and expect to hear Drake, because now how are you gonna record yourself?
Mm.
You know? And that's what I feel like a lot has happened. I'm like, cool, I know I can drop Drake. I know it's gonna pop off. Because people, the moment I do that, their phones are out in the crowd, jumping and everything. What was the one song that A$AP Ferg used to play? A$AP Ferg at Waiting Room, mosh pits and everything. What's his name? Shaq West. That was a cheat code. That should always every time.
Mobamba.
Till today it's still a cheat
It
code.
is.
That's why I'm always like, for me it became predictable. Now I'm playing you the same thing you heard last week. If I played the same hip hop party, or not even the same one, different ones, but I'm playing every weekend, I know what's gonna work. But for me that becomes boring.
Yeah.
So that's why I was always like, oh, when I played my, like, for example, now I'm playing bass hits again, I'm playing a lot more, going back into what I really enjoy. It's like, cool, now I can actually go dig and be like, cool, this would sound good. But for me, it's also like this element of like storytelling for when I'm prepping on my DJ gigs and stuff like that. It has to, for me, it always feels like a story. Like the energy always has to flow. It has to go into one part, into another. So I have like, I always say like music ADHD. Yes, I mean, it's not the best thing to have, because then you're like kind of going more to the side of like, oh, you only have a short attention span. But for me, it's this thing of like, cool, the sound is set, I just done this thing onto the next sound and introducing the next element. So yeah, I would say for me, that's the biggest difference I've noticed from that time to this time. It's like things, unless you're playing a festival, I think it's the one space you can kind of get away with playing crazy stuff.
Mm.
That's the only space in reality.
I mean, we don't have the spaces we had before. Like, I mean, the first time I went out was Sideshow, and that was like a theater, that was a club. Was it a theater?
Yeah, something like that, bro.
And I
It
remember
felt like that.
And the guest list line was always longer than the entrance line. Like the line went around the corner for guest list, and then the other side they're like, oh, if you want to pay, you can just go around the corner.
Yeah, I
and
know.
Did you
it's
guys ever
pretty
go
good.
to Sideshow?
I
No,
did.
Sideshow closed just before I left high school.
Damn, I'm that old. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sacha was
you
was
probably
dope.
what, like a year or two older than me?
I'm
Or
a
cut it if you don't want to say.
No,
Yeah,
no, no.
agree.
You know what?
Rup is an unk, bro.
Put it in the comment section. How old do you think I am?
I would have
Jeez.
thought, low-key, I would have thought we the same age.
Take your cap off first.
No, no. I'm good.
Isn't his head died?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
won't see the
it
white hair. now.
But I think Rip is like 29.
That's a good estimate. It's a good estimate. But yeah, I went to Sideshow.
Nah, I never been.
No,
Sideshow was.
he's definitely either 29 or on the third floor already.
On the
Third floor, is that
crazy.
what we're
I've
saying
never
now?
heard
That
one
is a dope
before.
analogy.
Third
I
floor.
like that.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Someone didn't get to the ground. Pause.
Yeah. So you were playing like Hearty for a long time at a stage as well. So you were in these quote unquote
Spaces.
commercial spaces,
Yeah.
even though you were making very underground music. So were you getting your bookings based on what were you getting your bookings based on? Word of mouth. You just happened to be in the right place at the right time, playing a sort of hip hop ish set.
I would say I just knew people that knew the people that are throwing parties. So, for
Mm.
example, with Waiting Room, I knew one person that knew that was doing. I met, actually, I lie. So, Waiting Room, I got into first because of Button Bashers. And they were looking for someone to battle. And I was like, cool. They were like, Robin, you produce? I was like, yeah, cool. Put me on. And that's when I met Alvin for the first time. That's when I met Matt. I think Matt reached out to me actually first. And it was so interesting because like I didn't
Sorry,
know
which Matt is this?
Matt Hitchens.
Oh, was he involved with Button Bashers?
Yeah, him,
Crazy.
Alvin and Luke.
Nice. Okay.
I think Luke stepped back a little bit just so that he could do some of the battles as well.
Mm.
But I remember that time, for me, it was a weird thing because it was the first time I felt recognition because I wasn't really fully based in Cape Town yet. So I was that time still in Stellenbosch and everything. So then they were like, cool, we want you to do Button Bash and everything. And when I got there, people were like, oh, you're Ripchord and like, we know you from the internet, like, love your tracks. And I was like, this is weird because I've never actually
Never had
had
that before.
interaction. Same as like randomly had people, which are now my friends, where I met people in the mall and they're like, oh shit, you're Ripchord. I love the last track that you worked on. It's super cool. And for me, I was like, oh, cool. My music is traveling and it's making waves. And the reason I got into Waiting Room was because of Button Bashers. And then Alvin was like, cool, we have this another party coming up. Do you want to play it? And then that led to me meeting some more people. And they were like, oh, we know this person that's promoter. So it was just a thing of like, I knew the right people to put me in contact with the right people.
Mm.
And it would always be a thing of like, cool, we'd like to have you on. Can you play? I'm like, cool. And they put me on early. And then every time I played, crowd reaction was really good. And they kept pushing me later and later. But then I was still doing a lot of the whatever bass parties were around. I was still playing that whenever I could. Same with Hearty. I knew Leia that runs Hearty through friends of mine as well. And they were just like, we've been talking for so long. And she's like, hey, I'm doing this party. Would you like to play? And that became a week out and a week out thing.
And that was OG Hearty, eh?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
not where they had Biscuit Mill now, so across
Yeah.
the road.
Sorry, let me get my mic. I think that would have been the time that JTI was working at Hearty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes
Same
sense.
time.
Yeah.
I did technically the first Hearty was the Soday Sundays.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Shout out So Days.
This is where I would say bleep me out, but that's when we did Play Graves. That
Yeah,
during
that was where the first cave was. That's where Hurt So Bad is now. It's Roxy.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Roxy's,
where-
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But-
where Hearty used to be.
Yeah,
right?
so
No,
there's-
no. Artie
No,
was
so
never
Days
in-
Sundays was,
It was
Oh,
before
so
it
this
became
was-
Hearty.
No, but Artie wasn't in that building though. Artie was down
next
the road.
door.
Yes,
Oh,
but
really?
Leia's first parties were Sodays.
Yeah.
And that
In that
became,
building?
yes,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
that became.
Oh,
So
I
then it
didn't
was
know
2
that.
floors, so you would have the
Yeah,
hip,
there was 2 floors, yeah.
Mm. There was another like big open section as well.
that was upstairs,
Yeah.
and then you would have like the hip hop floor when you went to that middle section where
Yeah.
Roxy's is
Mm.
now. And that was packed.
Dope, bro. So dope.
And I always told her, put me on at 7. That's Sunday. I'm like, I want to play early because I know people are going home
Mm.
early. And it was packed, like from the wall to the back. Shout
That's crazy.
I want to come back to Button Bashers quickly. So, like, just the fact that there was an event for producers only.
Yeah.
And that was like a monthly, weekly? What was the.
That was monthly because you would have to obviously the next month. So I think, yeah, they told me after winning the first one. So it kind of became this community. So like if you ever competed, you would then just automatically be like, oh, let's go check out who's battling at this.
Mm.
And you know the guys also playing. Like they'd play a lot of like hip hop stuff before, but the moment after the battle, anything goes.
Mm.
And it would be like super interesting because you'd see all the new kids on the block. You'd see OGs going up against the young kids, but also learning from each other, like how they would flip things. Yes, there was a cheat paper. What do you call it?
A cheat
Cheat
sheet.
sheet. For what?
For winning the thingy, in my opinion.
Oh, like a formula.
I
to
knew
win,
like
yeah.
already then. I was like, and I did follow that formula, and then that's how I won the first one.
Mm.
And then the second one, I entered in. I followed the same formula, but I knew they weren't going to give it to me. But I was also happy I didn't win. So,
Mm.
but yeah, it was just a cool space for producers. Everyone was
It's
like,
so cool, bro.
you would have people that are high up producers and people that are just starting out, and they will all just hang out in the same space.
That's
love
so
that,
cool.
bro. I
And
love
it's
it.
like competition. Like,
Mm.
do you win? Did you just win the respect?
You win a dope poster, which
Yes, that was the
Draviator,
thing.
check him out online. He did so he did all of the posters, but it was always this cool thing. Like there's one color of red,
Mm.
and they would choose a picture of you randomly. So you would always, and you would be on the poster for next month.
Yeah, you'd be the
promo
winner
piece.
would be
Yeah,
the
yeah.
yeah. I
So
remember
your art
clearly Sumo
Yeah.
winning one as like this super dope. It's almost like this smudged cartoony,
Yeah, black and white,
distorted vibe.
and
yeah.
always a piece of red. And I think he had like the red gloves on. I think with me it was, or did I have red gloves on, or I had the red in my cap? But that was just the thing. You would win basically bragging rights, and also the night of. I remember the second time I went just to go watch. They would be like, okay, cool, we need judges. So then Alvin would go through the crowd and be like, nah, you've battled, come on, you're good enough to be a judge. And then they bring you to the front, and then the battles would happen, and then they'd be like, who do you think? Who do you think? Who do you think?
That sounds dope, bro.
What a
Like,
time,
this,
bro.
Like,
What a
how long
time,
ago
bro.
was this?
Pre-COVID, I'd say
Yeah.
up until
2018?
maybe.
Yeah.
This was a time when I feel like SoundCloud producers were. This is like the golden era of SoundCloud producers. This is where Carmack made his name, K Tronado made his name, like globally, Sango, Selection. This is that time,
Yeah.
2011 to 15. And then the South African guys, they were like fucking crazy, bro. Like that time when I had UCT radio, the way I connected with you, Sumo, like
Even
everybody,
like
Dawson,
Pierre, also.
Pierre, Finn, who else? Just so many people, AKMG, Fonzo, all of them. Like, it was all SoundCloud based, bro. Like, SoundCloud was the shit. So you'd find these people on SoundCloud and you'd be like, yo, this is amazing. And then you meet them, exactly like he says, and you're just like, oh, it's Robin. Like, it's super chilled. But you're so amazed by their talents. And, like, it's just this completely genre-bending, genre-less world of just whatever the fuck goes. Like, anything goes.
And there was like never hate. That's the one thing I always enjoyed.
Yes.
I remember my first Battle 101. It was me, K Faith, Luke, Vermeer, and I can't remember who was the other person that was on the lineup.
I mean, just rattling those names off, like the type of people that were part of that. You're saying now, like even Sumo, Luke, like look at what they've gone on to achieve now, you know?
And that was the thing. It was like you would hear someone else and be like, "How did you get that?" Because you'd be given a sample,
Yeah.
and it's just so interesting to see everyone's mind go in different ways.
Oh, so you were given a sample
You
for
get-
that specific
yeah.
event.
You get asked the Friday before. They'd be like, "Are you keen to battle in Baton Bashers next week?" You'd say yes. They're like, "Cool, you'll get your sample on Sunday." You have 1 week to do this, and I don't think there was a time limit, but obviously, I don't know, maybe, obviously with the way times have changed, but back then it's like we didn't have, okay, maybe we had Splice, maybe I just wasn't on Splice. But you have the song, you can flip it as much as you want, do whatever you want. Obviously, that then goes to the judges. They can decide, okay, what did you do? Are you actually using a sample? So it was just, yeah, it was very much like, here's a song, do your thing.
This is the dopest thing I've heard in a hot minute, bro. Like, this is silly.
Bro, shit used to be so fun.
I think the only producer-only event I went to was Beat Swap. Was that?
Cruel section
Yeah, the
done.
school section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like-
did that as well.
But that
Yeah.
wasn't a competition. That was a room full of people that come, they share their beats,
Yeah.
and then at the end you can sell, you can swap, or you can
Not the one.
negotiate.
There was a competition
I was
once,
in the
though.
comp.
There
Oh,
was a
really?
comp, yeah.
I was in the
The
He
one
did
I
the
went
beat
to
swap
was-
for a while, and then he did the competition.
Then Amin was judging.
Oh, was it the one?
Above
Above
yours
Loop.
truly.
Yes, I was there. I mean, was Reiko?
Reiko.
Yeah,
Yes.
Reiko was there, and then MC Renz was MCing.
Georgia Vaking came to come check
Yeah.
that out too,
Yeah.
bro.
George
Just-
was also
just
at
so you
the
can
first
see.
time, the
Yeah.
first button bashes battle.
Just to
I-
show you how involved he was in the
That's
scene, bro.
I remember Ganja
insane,
Beats was
bro.
also
That's right.
competing in Beat Swap as well.
I think
quite
they may have,
regularly.
one of them may have
I-
charged Michelle, or who's
Mm.
one of the producers.
And Amin was hyping me up because I knew Amin from, again, through friends. So Amin was there. He's like, "Oh shit, you taking part?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm taking part." And then I got knocked out. I don't know why. I got knocked out in the first round. So I was like, "Okay, cool, I'm done for the day." And then Amin's like, "No, don't leave yet." So they're like, "Cool, we're gonna have wild cards. So whoever got knocked out in the first round, you go again, but it's against loser. Whoever comes out on top goes
Gets
through."
Through, yeah.
And somehow through that, I was like, "Alright, I guess I'm playing all my top beats now." Because I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. And every round, I kept going through, and then I made it all the way to the final. But then it was a thing of like, okay, now what? I've already played everything.
Already rinsed your good shit.
I was like, okay, cool. I mean, I think, what's his name?
Kenzo.
Was it Kenzo?
Kenzo won.
Yeah.
Kenzo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kenzo Jockey. I think that's his Instagram.
I don't know his Instagram, but Kenzo.
Yeah.
I just remember he won. Baker was there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baker was there, Soulful Clay.
Yeah, Clay.
Uncle Luke was there.
Luke.
Yeah, bro, this room was stacked.
Do you know?
Dawson's cousin.
What's the other guy? Lucky was also there.
Lucky.
Yes,
Lucky.
yes.
Mm.
He played one of the crazy Kwaito bass things.
Yeah.
Like
Do
that
you
was
know
nuts,
what's-
bro.
Like all the names you're mentioning now, no? These are people who are still out there today.
Yeah.
You know, obviously they're quite a bit older now. But it's like, what happened that caused this community to just dissipate?
You can't underestimate the power of COVID, bro. You can't.
It
I
changed
also-
everything.
It changed
Also,
everything.
because so many of those people moved to like different parts of the world, bro. Like a lot of them don't solely focus on South Africa anymore as
I mean,
their main.
All the names we just mentioned are still here,
they're
bro.
still here,
Yeah,
bro.
but-
They're still chilling.
Yeah, but I
They're doing
haven't
work.
heard of them do anything in South Africa.
I think it's also the spaces. Like,
Yeah.
we've had Assembly close, we had Sideshow close, we had Fiction close.
Mercury.
Like, all these, Mercury. we had
Mercury
all-
came back and closed again.
Because we had all these
Yeah,
spaces.
my very first gig was at Mercury Live.
Crazy.
Dope space.
Yeah.
And again, these spaces were like I think I was telling you earlier, where it's like everyone was playing week in, week out. There was a circuit where they'd be like, okay, we're doing a tour. Like now, if you think of someone doing a tour, it's like, where are you touring to?
Yeah, what country are you going to be at?
Back then, people used to do Cape Town, Stellenbosch, Potch, Durban, I think Pretoria, Johannesburg. Like that's your tour circuit.
Probably East London as well.
Yeah. And you'd go through all this, and that would be your tour circuit. So you'd have people back then, that was their, like, if they do an EP launch or something, or even then there was labels, people were still pushing to play all these parties. So it was, for me, it was just, things were just, not that it was better. I would say the power of the internet is the great thing. It's like, that's why I say you don't need a label backing you. You could post one song, someone crazy, like, I don't know, like Tyler the Creator also said, it's like, it only takes one person to see your thing, like, and that's enough. Or
Yeah.
to get you into the door and get you speaking to the right people. Whereas back then it was a lot more, I feel like it was a lot more community based. Like people were always coming out, like Lucky and all these guys. I always saw them at every gig, chilling and like people were exchanging music and beats and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just interesting times.
I think it's the physical connection
Mm.
that's missing. The physical thing of let's all meet at one place and talk and hang out and have a couple beers and listen to each other's music. Now it's genuinely just, it's on SoundCloud, it's on YouTube. Here's a link, you know.
That is true, because I would say I think I did maybe 2 or 3 beat battles, and because now everyone's going through Discord, and that again, I guess maybe I would be slightly a bit more ahead in life if I was keen on being on Discord, but I was also like, oh my god, I have to go through another social media app
Yeah.
and always be logged in, always typing to people, sending messages and stuff like that. And for me, it was just a whole nother thing. So I'd always have people that'd be like, oh, did you check your Discord? This and this happened. I'm like, I only open it when my homies were like, oh, we're doing this event. And I did, it was nice for that time because there was no, we couldn't have these spaces where you could be physical and actually get to know people. So I think that's the thing, and it changed a lot. Is it divided us in a lot of ways, like you said. Now you
But
just
then it stayed there.
yeah.
It divided us because we didn't have the option of being physical, and then it didn't go back to being physical. It stayed in this
but
in this
it
online
also,
world.
It also took a while to get back to being normal from a physical perspective. You know,
Yeah.
like 2020 happens, COVID happens, and then 2021 comes around, and it's still limited. You know, max 80 people in one place, max 100 people.
Oh,
in
fair,
one
but I
place.
mean, it's been 3 years of
It's
normal,
just,
bro.
I think it's just hard to get. I think it's just hard to get back to that particular point because if you think about it, a lot of these people wouldn't necessarily say you lost 2 years of your life, but you've grown exponentially within those 2 years to the point of where I don't need that outside anymore because of where I am in my life and the age I'm at right now.
That's
Remember, a lot of these people were 22, 23 in that 2019 year. So they skipping 2 years, and by the time COVID is done and everything's normal, you 25, 26. You basically on that stage of life now where you want to expand in other ways, especially as a man, for example.
For sure.
No, I get
Why
that.
you
I
laughing?
don't know because it's the way you said it. It's just like I don't know.
Like you grow up, bro.
Yeah, you grow up.
It's also like this. It was a thing at one point where they like said everyone that was born in like 2000s, 2001, if you just finished high school and COVID happened, you couldn't go out. And by the time COVID is
could.
done, you were like, cool, but I'm kind of got uncomfortable not going out
Yeah.
and not having to experience all these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Which is exactly the problem that we have now.
100%.
Because that age group of like
It's all like I think they just developed this like social anxiety.
That's true.
1000%, bro. 1000%.
yeah.
Like that social anxiety is probably the worst thing that could have happened to that particular like age group of people because all you know is interacting with someone through a screen, you know? So meeting someone for the first time, that's such a weird sensation because the last person you met was the person that you saw in high school the year before you graduated. And now you graduate and then you fucking going into 2020 and now you can't meet new people. So now everyone you're meeting is internet based and when you see them in person, you're like, oh fuck, I have to actually talk to you like this.
Yeah, and actually goes so much further than just that group that finished high school. Think about the group that was turning 13, the group that was turning 16, the group that was turning 18, the group turning 21, the group that just finished university,
Yeah.
that just was studying for 4 or 5 years and finally had that sense of freedom. Like, it's not just a certain 3 years sort of
No,
period.
it's everyone,
I think
yeah.
it's everyone for the next maybe 10 years that would have been affected. So
For
only
me,
if
I
you're
was-
getting into your teens now, maybe it's going to be different where you're actually going to have a normal teenagehood into young adulthood.
Like for me, it was crazy because then just before COVID, I was getting brands just giving me stuff all the time. I had New Balance was just giving me shoes. I had Red Bull, but I think Red Bull was still much focused on the music aspect back then. I had so many brands just being like, oh, we're doing this. We would like to invite you to do this. And we'd also want to give you some stuff. So back then it was very much like, things were rolling already, like ball was rolling and things were moving quite well. And then out of nowhere, they just said, cool, everything's shutting down. And in that time, I think so many corps were also like, okay, cool, where are we losing our money? Where can we keep it?
Yeah.
Where can we save it? Because what if this happens again, then what?
Well, yeah, I think that is also just a problem. You know, entertainment is unfortunately the first thing that gets
Yeah.
chopped for any budget, whether it's corporates, weddings, birthdays. Entertainment's the thing that gets chopped first.
It's funny, bro. I actually had this chat with a wedding client recently, and I was like, so she came to me. She said, I'm booking you for my wedding, and I want to make sure this is done first before anything else, because I've been to so many weddings where it's beautiful, it's the best venue, the food is extravagant, and then they have a cuck DJ. And all of that, like, all of the day is almost forgotten because that experience of the night, the fun part of the
Falls
night,
so
that
flat.
people actually remember is just like, it's pop. So she was
Yeah.
like, and I was like, shout out, like, thank you for considering entertainment first, because it genuinely, I think, not because we're DJs and photographers in the room, but I think those are the two most important things about a wedding.
I'm
Having
just-
the memories and having the party is what it's
Like-
about.
Like, I hate to rain on your parade, but I feel like at the wedding specifically, if anything goes wrong, that's what ruins the wedding. Do you know what I mean? Like,
The DJ.
no. I'm saying if anything, like say the DJ's perfect, but the starters are cack, but the rest of the food is nice.
Yeah.
Your starters were bad. Like that's all you're gonna hear. You don't know what I mean? Like I feel
Yeah,
like that's
like-
a wedding.
That's the problem with the weddings
You
in
can't please
general.
everybody.
A lot of
Ah, for
people,
sure.
a lot of people nitpick and they go and they just stick on the one thing or two things that were bad, which is fine.
Also,
But it's
you're
like
going to a fucking free party and
Besides
you're getting
that-
fed. People complain for shit, bro.
the thing that
Like-
rescues everything, the thing that rescues every bad moment
Is the party.
is entertainment.
100%.
Think about
bro.
it. How many times didn't you go to a jaw and the first thing someone did was spill a dope on you? And then 20, 30 minutes later, someone's moving it on the decks and you completely forgot about the fact that someone spilled a dope on you.
Not many times.
I was gonna
to
say, I
be
haven't had
fair.
many people spill drinks
Yeah, I
on me,
don't know.
but
But I get
that
you.
happens a lot.
I get your point though, because
Yeah.
you can forget a bad starter. You can forget cold meat. You
for
know.
me, I was gonna say now. For me, what's crazy is there was a time when I think I was fresh out of high school and I was going to festivals. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't taking drugs or anything. Just sober, 18-year-old at a party, festivals. But it was like ultra first time. We had Swedish House Mafia. We had Skrillex and all these people. But for me, someone would take videos and only afterwards I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that happened." Completely
Yeah.
because you just have this euphoric feeling the whole night. You have such good feelings and good energy because you're just in the moment, living there and being present.
Literally.
And I feel like that, like you said, with weddings as well, like music is the soundtrack of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's capturing. That's why when I do get married, I'm going to be very specific about the music. Don't worry, Calvin.
A wedding fest.
Wedding fest.
Yeah.
Calvin headlining.
Let's go.
Kane's on the closing.
Someone had a wedding. Blotchy. A long time ago, I remember. So Blotchy was the one of the organizers of Cold Turkey, and he had a wedding. And I remember one night, like everybody was DJing at this wedding. It was like everybody, bro. He had like 10 DJs at his wedding, bro. It was like a proper festival, like a jaw.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
nuts.
because he was like one of the people bringing down all the big names and all those. So again, probably that's how it is with most DJs, parties or weddings and stuff. You have your friends there. There's CDJs. Why not?
Not real. That's what my wedding's gonna be like, bro.
gonna be a celebration.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
an open decks.
Open decks, bro. Pull
I
up.
don't have to pay nobody.
Yeah,
Don't
fuck
worry.
that. No, I'm not paying for my wedding's gonna be free, bro.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get everything for free. People are gonna do shit for you. None of us are gonna be working on your wedding. Forget about that.
100%. What do you think this is?
I'm taking photos at your wedding.
Yes.
Brother,
You
if
think
I'm
I'm
not-
playing music at your wedding?
Brother, if I'm not a part of the wedding party.
I'm just sitting
I'm,
there. I'm just gonna be
If
sitting.
I'm not a groomsman, I
Nah,
don't want
what?
to be there.
You know, if I'm not the groomsman, there's a problem. Him, that's right.
Sorry.
I just want
If
to be
I'm not
invited.
a, what do you call that, bro?
I just want to be invited.
Yeah, you just wanna be there.
Nah, not the flower boy. Who's the man who's next to all the other people? Who's standing next to the groom?
groomsman. Oh,
Best
The
man.
best
best
man.
man.
No, not the best man. The other bruise.
The priest, the groomsman.
Yeah, if I'm not a groomsman, I don't want to be
But that's
there,
what
bro.
you said.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he looked at me like I said something funny. So
Nah,
I
but
thought, like, oh, did I
but
say
there's
something
there's
funny?
a line, but that is. There's a lot of people. Bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not saying there isn't.
I'm not gonna
Why
lie,
can't this
bro.
one have a
There's-
squad?
I'm
Please,
genuinely
please.
I could have like 10 groomsmen,
Yeah.
bro. Like
Bro,
it's hard to
You
exclude
can have
people.
2 5 teams.
I was gonna say. You
And we
guys
can
play
rock
fives.
afterwards, bro.
You play
Play
fives.
fives.
and
Winning team is stands on.
As
on
long
the-
as Lee's on my side, I will be there. Lee, I want to be on your team, blood.
Bro. Yeah, thanks for working at my wedding, guys. Yeah, bro. It's you know what? We can sit here a lot and talk about like what it was like before and reminisce and all these things, but it's like I think maybe taking that energy and the experience and the memories from that and trying to bring it into this new age, and it's not going to be easy, but it's inspiring when you see somebody do a revision of button bashes. You know, even me doing Hurt So Bad, it's like I want that to inspire people to be like, fuck, let's throw another
Yeah.
party, let's do something else. Like, oh, okay, let's get this. They got producers here. Like, getting that community back is so important, bro. Like, it's mad because I feel like I've maybe met 5% more people than I knew from before COVID.
Yeah.
Whereas you were meeting people every week, new
Yeah.
producer, new DJ, new this, new that. And it's just like, it's the same people. Like
Yeah.
nobody's gone anywhere, but are there any more new ones? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there are, but
They are, man, but like they're all just hiding behind the screen. Like even now, for example, in the preparation to the cave and like obviously dropping artists and stuff like that, you know, you're getting DMs and you're getting messages and you're getting inquiries from people who a good percentage of them that I've gotten so far I've actually never met in person.
Mm.
But you follow and you lurk and you check and you're in and around, but you've never been to the cave, for example.
Yeah.
You know, you've never been to another event that I've had, or you've never been in a mutual space where you had the opportunity to come through. And
Yeah.
I DM'd you the other day, you know, we spoke for a while, whatever the case may be. And it's such a strange thing because that was the meta. And we say meta, we talk about something that you can abuse to get to the right position.
Yeah.
That was the meta back in the day where I went to waiting room and I sat on the speaker and I looked around and I saw who's shaking hands with who and who's talking to who to try and figure out
That's
who
true.
can I approach and who
That's
can
how I know,
I
okay.
get away to.
sitting
You're
on that
sitting right in front
speaker
of me
on
while I
the
was
sub.
DJing.
No,
in front of the
1000%.
booth.
That used to be my spot, bro. Every Friday, Saturday, whenever I'm in waiting room, that fucking bass button there, that's me. I'm seated and I'm looking, I'm studying, I'm seeing what other people are doing. And it's like, that meta doesn't exist in our game today. No one's willing to come and stand in front of the DJ booth and watch everything and understand what's going on and look at who's talking and
It's
who's
not even-
mingling.
It could just be a thing of like being nonchalant. Like I don't want to look like I'm trying too hard to
Look too
get to
desperate
know
or
people.
something.
Or it could be a case of like the community culture isn't there anymore. Like if you throw a party, you can't expect, or I mean like you're trying to do that so bad. We Are Sundays has their community. Like there's certain
Yeah.
parties that have their communities, but the community idea around an event,
You can't
When
be-
last has it worked?
My thing is, you can't try to be cool if you're not cool.
But also,
You can't try to be nonchalant if you're not. Like, it doesn't make sense, man. You can't be a nonchalant type of person, but you're eager to play somewhere, or you're eager to get onto a stage, or you're eager to make a
Yeah.
connect that's going to open multiple doors for you.
Unless
Like-
your work speaks so
Exactly.
loudly for
Which-
itself
which
that you're
is never the
undeniable.
case.
but you
Yeah.
can't. But you can't also join a community if there's no community because everybody's being culture vulture.
Yeah, but we're not
chasing
even
after-
talking about joining a community, for example. You know, it's something as simple as, like, for example, sitting on the speaker and just observing and seeing who's doing what and who's talking to who, so that I can maybe get an Instagram handle or maybe because now it's like the complete opposite. Now I first need that yes via Instagram to say, oh, I'll book you. And then only the support comes, and then
That is
only
very true.
you pop up at my event. Then only you're like, my bro, shake my hand, which is the complete backwards slash
And then
opposite way.
you
It's
book
'cause they
them
don't
and they
wanna
never
get
come
snubbed.
through again.
No, it's because
Yeah.
they don't want to
Yeah.
get snubbed. So if they don't, it's almost like the thing, right? Like when you see someone in public, you know them from Instagram,
Yeah,
but you don't know if you can go up to greet them because you don't know if they're gonna recognize you or remember
but that's
you.
the thing. I watched a video this morning, right? Oh, you have it.
Before I forget, just talking about this, I had a strange interaction today. It was just strange. And it wasn't, I'm not trying to make this person feel bad or anything, but I was standing in the line at Spa, and the line does like a swivel. So you over here and then it loops and it goes this way. So the person standing on the other side of me like this, and I'm standing there, I think I'm on my phone like this. And then at the corner of my eye, I see like a phone coming like this. And I just look and then I just kind of ignore it. And I'm like, oh, should this person maybe taking a selfie like this? But they're putting the phone in my face. And then I looked again and then they were like, oh, no, I just wanted to see what you would do. And I was like, And then there was one of those moments where I was like, I know this person's face, but I don't know who they are. And then I just played along with it. And I was like, oh, sorry, I thought you were taking a selfie. And then I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is strange.
Next time, Calvin gets tagged in something.
No, bro, but
Prank.
Yeah.
I don't know. But like doing that and then saying, I just wanted to see what you were going to do.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, there are people like that.
I don't know.
No,
I was confused. That's all.
Yeah, but that's how the interaction works now, where you first want that validation via the internet, and you like, okay, cool, I got the recognition, and this person says yes, and then now we work. Like, I watched a video earlier today, well, this morning actually, about not the art of rejection, but like how to make rejection not make you feel like a failure, for example. You know, so they painted the picture that rejection is this 3-second thing, and it's not a character-based thing where someone said no because you look a certain way, you sound a certain way, you are a certain way, you dress a certain way. It's just them saying no, and that's it. So if you can frame a rejection in this 3-second thing of like, oh, they just said no, the world's not going to end, and if you can train your brain to accept a rejection, you can become the most confident person in the world. Again, like to Brody's point, someone recognizes you from Instagram, I'm not going to recognize them. And they walk up to me and they say, yo, you came from whatever, nice to meet you. So like my natural instinct and my first thing that I always do is I ask them, oh, dope, sorry, what's your name? I'm not familiar. They're like, oh, no, I'm da-da-da-da. It's like, oh, you have Instagram. It's like, yeah, cool, let me see your Instagram. Follow each other on Instagram. You know, that's like, but there are other people who will treat that the completely opposite direction and be like, oh, yeah.
You don't think... So remember you mentioned earlier like the social anxiety thing that people now have.
Yeah.
You don't think now, not that they're not trying, but for them it's a thing of like, okay, cool. People don't... Well, we've never gone out like before. For
Yeah.
example, I will never forget the first time Mr. Carmack was here. I went out with 4 USBs because I was like, if I meet this homie, I'm going to give him my music, dap him up.
Yeah.
Hopefully it leads something, but nothing else. But it was just the thing of going out and knowing, I'm going to give you my USB. Hopefully you like it or not.
Something happens.
Also get to talk to you for a bit. Whereas now I feel like, I don't know, I feel like most people, it's either they're going to email you or send you a DM, which is great. But then you got to think about, now I have to go actually listen through all of that, and it's going to keep happening. Where for me, I preferred having this moment where we've met,
Yeah.
we've spoken, cool, let's check each other out.
I would say it's easier if you send that DM, and if I don't reply and you see me in public, then you should be like, yo, bro, like I admire your work.
Yeah.
I've
No
seen
one-
what you've done. I've sent you a DM. Like, is there something that we could maybe make work?
But if they felt like you didn't give them, if you didn't look at them on Instagram or like you snubbed them, they might just think, oh, like he probably doesn't
But
give
that's
a
the
fuck,
other
like, he
thing
don't
you
give a
must
shit.
understand, because if, for example, if I don't follow you on Instagram, you go straight to my request, and chances are I'm not going to open my request if I'm not an
In the
avid
request
person
mode,
on Instagram. You get me? So that shouldn't even come across to you as a snub. That should be like, you should already understand, oh shit, this bro doesn't follow me back, so I am probably loving in these requests. So the next time I see you, I'm gonna be like, hey yo, I
So-
tried to DM you. It doesn't seem like it went through. It doesn't seem like you got it. But like, let's do something.
For
Let's
me
talk.
now, like I would say I have more requests as a photographer than I had as a music artist. But as a photographer, like I have people messaging me constantly, and it's like I've had these awkward moments when these people, I meet them at something else, and I had this one time where like 2 models came into like, oh Robin, we sent you a message, you didn't read our message, what's up with that? I'm like, I'm sorry, but I have so much message requests. But for me, that's the thing. I spoke to Carl the other day, Das Capital, and I was just telling him I felt I made myself too accessible to people. Like it's this thing of where people message you and they expect, oh, you should reply. Just because I know someone you might know or someone close to you doesn't mean I am ready to share all my time and my efforts to make you feel validated that you sent me a message. I always try my best to send you a message to make sure, because it's also closure at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because some people might feel like, oh, am I not good enough to work with this person, or am I not able to do that? Even when I was a producer, like if I couldn't work with someone, I'd just be like, hey, you're super talented and everything or whatever, but I just either didn't have the time or our vibes just wouldn't match. And that's okay at the end of the day.
way I see it is it's a billion people standing in a room. This is the internet. and everyone shouting at each other at the exact same time, and then pointing to one person and saying, "Hey, why didn't you hear what I said to you?"
But we all
Like,
shouting.
we all are living in the exact same experience. Like, it's not like you are talking to me and I'm ignoring you
Yeah.
here in person. It's the internet, bro.
But
Like,
do you
and
s-
also, sorry, the
Yeah.
other thing that gets me is when somebody will be like, "Oh, I'm so and so from Instagram," and I'll be like, "Okay, I'm not sure who that is," and then I'll go on their profile, and their profile is the generic black and white image,
you said
and they
this,
have no
yeah.
posts.
Yeah. But like, do you
That's a
see?
rage bait
Do you
right
see
there.
how backwards the mentality is though? Because like pre-COVID, it's easier to go and shake Ripchord's hand and be like, "Yo, Ripchord, I'm Kane. You know, nice to meet you." Tomorrow, when I DM Ripchord and Ripchord doesn't follow me back, he's gonna see Kane pop up in the request and he's gonna be, "Oh shit, I met this dude last
Yeah.
night."
Yeah.
It's so much easier to reply
But
to.
I think sometimes people don't think logically like that. I think they.
Yeah, that's a character flaw on
But
my
it
part.
is,
That
bro.
was
I mean,
some-
it's a
Yeah, that's a
massive.
skill
You
issue.
need
Some
to
people
have.
live
Yeah.
the internet world versus the real world.
Yes,
Yeah.
bro.
So remember, a lot of people are just on doom scrolling and stuff,
Yeah.
messaging
Yeah,
people.
1000%.
For them, it's easier
Yeah.
being on a keyboard and behind a screen than us having this conversation in person.
But how many more times would you have? Sorry, bro. How many more times? I can tell you, even just from Hurt So Bad, the amount of people I've booked directly the next event after they have come to my event. I have a master list of all the DJs I want to book, like people that have either messaged or it's like in my head that I want
Yeah.
to book them. The people that come to the event, how you doing, bro? Nice to meet you. Thank you for pulling up. Thank you for spending your money and your time and energy coming here. Let's chat. Da-da-da. I see your vibe. I see how you are. I see how you connect with other people. You're getting along with all the people in the room here. Cool. Sharp. You're on the lineup.
Like that happened to me sometime last week as well. And it's like you said earlier, this person reaches out, they're so eager to be on your lineup and whatever the case may be. You put them on the lineup, they come for that event, and 4 to 5 other events happen after that booking, and you don't see them at a single one. And the moment you announce that the next one is on the way, you get a text from them. And it's like, I get you. It's a platform that you want to be on. I understand it. But it's also a platform that needs growth and involvement from the people who share the stage. You know, like now the other day, I posted a photo, a carousel of some pictures of last year's anniversary event. And in one of the pictures was Forever J. Forever J played 2 caves already and she reposted it. Yes, it's her photo, but at the end of the day, she could have double tapped it and kept it scrolling, you know. But she reposted it because it's something special to her, and that signifies support for the event, you know. She can't attend the next one, but she said, like, "Yo, I'm so sorry I can't attend the next one." Whereas this other person who just texted me, they just texted me. Didn't even say anything. They just texted me. But it's like, I already know what you want to ask. That's why I didn't bother replying to you. But again, there was 5 previous events since the one that I booked you for, and you didn't show up to any of those. So why would I suddenly?
I
Yeah,
think-
man.
I think what's also wild is if I think about it, I'm guilty of this as well. It's like if you have to think about back then, waiting room was the spot where you know there's always something happening.
Yeah.
So regardless if you're doing your party now or someone else is doing their party, if I've played it before, I'm not someone that goes out a lot, but I know, cool, I'm gonna go out tonight. I know this is happening at waiting room. Then I'll go out. But for me, it was always a thing of like, I feel yes if I'm gonna go out, but I'm also like I'm also an introvert.
Yeah.
So my energy is always like 20% battery, trying to make sure that I'm showing face and making like just greeting everyone and everything. But for me, I also know it's important for community. And that's why I always push to try and go to these events and stuff. But back, like I said, obviously reminiscing back then, throwback episode. Everyone went out because we knew even if this event's happening this weekend, next weekend, the same people will be in that space, even though it's not the event or by some chance. But whenever you went out, you knew those people would still be out and they'd be in these spaces. So it was a lot easier to connect back then. Whereas, yes, you have 4 events, let's say a year, let's say with a cave, and you have someone playing the first one. But again, I would also hope, if I booked you once, I'm hoping you'd just pull by. Because you're like, cool, I've played the party, it was a good vibe, why not go back?
Yeah.
The same as like when people are playing, I'd never ask you for guest list because me as a producer, I've been on the other side, or as a DJ, I've been on the other side. People asking you, like 20 people asking you for guest lists. I'm always like, cool, I put you on the list. show happens, but then like half your list doesn't even show up because people are like, oh, I mean, I got the ticket for free, but it's nothing if I don't go.
That doesn't mean anything if I don't show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yo, this is still one. It's some people are actually making a living off this, but two, it's also this tiny room, for example. Let's say if 20 people showed up. It could have been 40. Let's say you had a guest list of 40 people, but only 20 people show up. That means the room is already half the size because your expectations are already different.
Mm.
Because people are already begging you for tickets and stuff. So that's why, like, even now, I mean, the big one was like, for example, when Iman was and we like hung out and stuff. He was like, "Cool, I'm gonna like come. Are you coming to the event?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm coming." He's like, "I'll put you on the list." I'm like, "No, dog, I'll buy a ticket. Why not?" And he was like, "You sure?" I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's to support
And this is a
you."
massive global.
Yeah, but that's also like a social experiment, man.
Yeah.
Because like again, similar scenario where you give out, for example, you give out 100 free tickets, and all the 100 free tickets are taken, and then 15 of those tickets are checked in, and you ask yourself like, okay, so where did the other 85 tickets?
I think
go
it's because people are like, "Cool, I got it for free, so it's
Yeah.
okay."
if I don't go. Yeah.
And then the next time you do an event, then they ask again for a ticket. But
Yeah,
you're
but
like,
but this is also like why I've made many a mental note of people who ask for free tickets and who don't show up. It's like, yeah, that's never gonna happen
There
again.
was an event recently, either late last year or this year, I remember. It was something along the lines of if you get guesses and you don't show up, you are like blacklisted, for lack of a better term. Like they take note of it. So you won't be allowed back on the guest list ever again.
That's a
But it was a
great
free event.
initiative.
Yeah, it was a free event.
Because the only thing that I know of now is obviously the penalty charge if you don't show up before. So your ticket is free up until a certain time, and
I
if you
like
show
that.
up after that time, it's 100 rand or 150.
Fire.
do you know what was crazy? So I went to a couple festivals in Germany. So in Germany, they have this thing where it's like the tickets are cheaper if you want to be there earlier, but you have to be in by a certain time.
Yes.
So I remember you'd get there, let's say I got the 2:00 ticket. Festival goes till 2:00 the next day, but the line goes like all the way down. So the nice, I would say not the nice thing, but the thing there in Germany is you can drink in public. So people in the line are already
Already
just
getting
chilling.
Mm.
Every 10 meters is a bin. And obviously everyone like cleans up after themselves. So they put the bottles next to the bin because they know it's money. So whoever wants to, they can take the
Oh,
bottles
yes,
and
my friend told me about this.
they can
bro.
check. Bro, you can
Bro,
go to the store
bro,
with a bag and you
used to,
can
yeah.
get groceries.
He used to go
Fire.
to like used to study at the university in Norway. So what he used to do was when everybody goes home after the chore, he goes to like collect cans in bins. And he could pay, bro, you get 100 euros, like straight like that. He carry bags of it around.
You
bro.
just stand.
To imagine $2,000 from trash, bro.
So now the cool thing that I was like, wow, this really, it actually, for me, it weirdly made sense or it worked was seeing people line up because they're cool. I got the early tickets. So now you have people there for the first people playing. You have people all the way till the end because they're like, you can't go out and come back in.
Yeah,
that's
there's
what-
no pass out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
But
But
can,
that's
that's-
what open festivals used to do before COVID here
Yeah.
in South
Yeah.
Africa. People would line up as soon as doors open, bro. But I'm glad you brought up Germany. I wanted to bring up that before we have like 10 more minutes left. I basically just wanted to touch on, so you guys spoke about social media and all that stuff as well. And I feel like before COVID and maybe just a bit after, you were more active on social media than you are now, currently. Or now it's more, this is what I do, this is the content, this is the business side
yeah,
of
more
things.
selective.
Yes, but back then you were more
Personal
it was more
life,
personalized.
yeah.
Yeah. Did anything change? Was it COVID or when you went to Germany? I saw that was the sort of shift that happened when you were that side.
I think for me it was more a thing of like, I was like, I don't want to share as much personal life because I was like, why am I making myself accessible to so many people? Like, it's not necessary. It's like you hear so many scary stories where people will be like, oh, I saw you were at this place last week. But then you start thinking about it, it's like, okay, cool, people actually know my exact movements if I'm posting almost every single day and everything. And for me, it kind of became this thing. It's like, oh, I have to post. So for example, with music, I was like, cool, I have to keep posting because the algorithm. And if the more I post, then obviously the more things will work out. And then I just stopped posting, and then weirdly the opposite started happening. So then every time when I randomly started posting, I would have crazy engagement, and then stop posting, and then or I'd try to continue posting, but it wouldn't be the same.
sorry to break. This is crazy, right? And this is crazy because you look at social media, for example, right? You stop posting as often, and your engagement spiked up because of that. So when you do post, it goes crazy. Then you get the people who post often and their engagement is still crazy because they post often. And
Feeding
like
the machine.
it's such a strange situation.
I think it depends on your community. So for myself, you guys know I don't post personal
You
content
don't
at
post
all.
jack shit,
But now
bro.
I've started posting at least once a month. I post at the end of the month
A dump.
of what what I
Yeah.
did in that dump gets so much. Even if it's not on the actual post itself, people will DM me and send me texts about like the photos in the dump, all the stuff I did in the month. So like it depends on because I don't feed the machine. I don't feed my community.
Also, at the end of this month, you can post your cave spoilers.
Nah, why, bro? I'm gonna post wow, the end of the month. But like, I think it depends on your community. For example, like again, in your community, if you don't post at least once a day, your community might be like, "What's going on? Like, why not?"
Is
putting
he
up a
not
story?
okay? Is he fine?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
So
I think for me, what I also noticed was that I wasn't being present in my day-to-day life because I was living for posts. For example, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go do this. I have to take a picture while I'm here doing this thing instead of just being present, being in the moment. Whereas now it's like when I'm out or there was a time when everyone was taking pictures of their food. I'm like, I mean, people still do, but for me it was just a thing of like.
There was a time. The time is now.
But for me, it was a thing of like, it's a moment. I remember, this was like 2015. There was a big YouTuber. His name was Ben he's from the UK, but he had like a couple 100,000 followers, vlogger. But he told us, for example, and back then I didn't take it in, but he was like, when we was chilling with us, he was like, I'm not recording because this is real, this is personal. Everything we did, like as an activity. So the one day we did Lion's Head as a hike. So he recorded that as we were going to the top. And then after that, we had breakfast. So then he wasn't recording because he's like, this is a real moment. We're enjoying it and everything like that. But then I've also seen people on the other side. We have been at events where people are like, moment the camera's on, they're like, oh, yes, my personality and everything. The moment the camera goes off, they just shut off. And I think I saw a lot of that happening. And for example, when I went to Germany for the first time, and I was like, weirdly, the funniest thing, when everyone kept asking me, what am I most excited to do when I'm there? And I was like, I just want to walk around at night and listen to music. That's not something I can do in my home country. But there, it's like I took trains late at night with headphones on and just listening to music for a whole train ride. Just walking around in the city at night, just listening to music, because I was like, it's something I've always dreamt about doing, where you could just be in your own headspace, go for a walk. And again, it was this thing of being in the moment, being present. I'm not being like, oh, look at me on my walk and enjoying this is the beat I'm listening to right now.
Everything
before
is
you
too
go again, I
performative
just want to ask.
these
This is
days.
okay. I know you spoke about like not being personal and
Go for
allowing
it.
people in, but like, did Germany did Germany have an impact on your personal, like on you as a person? Because I know obviously you went there to stay with someone and all this stuff, but like, did Germany? How did it impact you going from Cape Town to live in Germany and at the same time working for Oxford University?
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit of a, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
get
it's
you,
a-
man. I would say being in Germany, the cool thing when I was there is the people, how they are. There's like unspoken rules that you don't really know unless you know people there. Like, for example, the escalator. Like, everyone stands on the right. The left is express. Like, if you're going fast, that's completely open.
Yeah.
If you stand on the left side and someone's trying to go fast, they will shout at you.
Damn.
And there's no rule. No one says anything.
Yeah.
It's just a
It's
thing
just
of,
something that you know.
Yeah.
You know what pisses me off? People who don't know how to use the stairs. No, genuinely, it pisses me off, bro. Like in South Africa, you walk on the left-hand side. So your left hand always clutches the railing.
yeah.
So everyone walks on the fucking left-hand side. And it should be a uniform line.
Yeah.
Like, yo, right-hand side, you, like, on the opposite side, you're walking up,
Yeah.
we're walking down on
You
the side.
overtake on the right moves. all the
Don't
time.
fucking wanna come walk next to your bra,
I think for me, so the thing that changed.
It's an unnecessary crash out for everyone.
No,
Yeah,
because
No, but no,
that's
the only
shitty,
reason I
bro.
agree
No,
with
no,
him,
no.
the only reason I agree with him is because when you're walking on a sidewalk, sometimes homies take up the whole sidewalk.
No,
Yeah,
like,
bro.
why? Why do five
Yes.
people wanna walk in a straight line?
Slow.
Slow.
Bro, and then sorry, I'm gonna break you up. bro, I was in a run in Sea Point. I'm running, you know. Bro, I don't know what nationality they are, but they're European. Bro, there's 5 people are walking all on the prom. I'm one man, I wanna run past him. Nobody moved, bro.
No, that's
They literally
Europeans.
looked at me and they went, what?
Europeans don't move.
Okay.
Depends on, I would say it depends on the country.
Not too much on the.
Yeah, no.
Not too much on the Europeans now.
now. But like when they walk, bro.
Shout out
They
Alice.
don't care. They don't care who, bro. It could be Cyril walking in that direction. They're gonna walk, bro.
Do
Wait,
you
wait.
honestly think any
They don't know
European
Cupcake.
knows who Cyril is, bro?
I don't know who Cupcake is.
Oh, sorry.
Imagine.
I don't even know
Imagine
who
a
the president
local
of Germany
person.
is.
Imagine a South African tells you that our president's name is Cupcake. Do you think they're taking anything seriously, bro?
Back to the.
I think the big thing that I took away from Germany is that it taught me to be more present.
Okay.
It taught me to be like living moments, to live like I've got to see so many beautiful countries where it was just like, yes, I could be like, oh, let me take up my phone and take a picture. But I also, what took me back is that I started shooting a lot more film. So I was shooting a point and shoot.
Shout out Nick Farmer.
Shout out Nick Farmer.
Farmer.
Shout out.
That's another. We need to talk to
get
Nick.
on the
He's
podcast.
ridiculous.
That's going to be a football podcast.
Yeah, man. That's gonna be a football podcast.
But for me, it was like the moment I started shooting on like my point and shoot, it was the thing. I know I only have 36 photos. So you become more precious about what you want to capture.
yeah.
So there was like when I was traveling through Mallorca, for example, I was in one of the smaller towns, and for me it was like, oh, everything looks like a movie set. So I was like, oh, that's a picture. But if I was on my phone, I'd be a whole time like video. I could take endless pictures all day. Like you could do that, but again, for me, it was just teaching me how to be very present and just like live and be in the moment and be present. Don't post or make, or I don't know, just be on your phone to think, okay, cool, it's performative in a way.
Yeah.
What you're
it
doing is performative.
I must say, just on that point, like, the one and only time I've ever been to Europe, I did a Euro trip, me and Denzel.
Washington, crazy.
Yeah, bro, that's my guy.
Dinner.
And I was like, this is, at the time, I was maybe like, 25? To me, I was like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. Like, my DJing career there was no DJ career. Like, I didn't think that I'd be able to get to that point where maybe I'm touring the world DJing, you know. I was like, this is my chance, I'm going to make the most of it. So I would walk around with my GoPro recording, my phone in this hand, fucking like, or the GoPro was on my chest or my head, and then like a digital camera on my
You were
phone. Like,
full
That actually
tourism
sounds
mode.
Yeah,
that
I
sounds
was-
like a horrible way to spend your holiday.
let me tell you something. I went through my hard drive a couple of weeks ago. In the moment, you're like, fuck. Okay, you're taking it all in. You're recording everything. You're like, fuck, this is a lot of work. Charging everything, memory cards, all this shit. Like, it's a lot of work. But 10 years later, I look back at it now and I'm like, I'm literally reliving every moment of those 3 weeks. I remember everything and I look back and I'm like, I don't remember this, I don't remember that, I don't remember that. So like that amount of effort that you put into it for a once in a lifetime thing is worth it, bro.
I'm real with you, eh?
Sorry, before you not remembering it because you weren't living in the moment at that point in time. So obviously seeing it on the camera, like, oh shit, I forgot I did that, but it's because you weren't fully present.
No,
You
no,
were doing
I
that.
can say that I was fully present. Genuinely, I can say that. What I'm saying is that there were certain details, or maybe just unlocking that specific memory again of like, this is exactly what it was like in the moment. Like there is something cool about that. But to post, it's not like I was doing it to post and take
It's
the
just for
perfect
yourself.
angle and
Yeah.
perfect lighting and
Yeah.
everything. It was like, shoot,
This is like
shoot
a GoPro,
everything,
it
just
is
go.
A silver GoPro 4, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Buy yourself a film camera, bro. A simple point and shoot, like it will genuinely.
And
like,
you can't even look at the picture you just took.
Yeah, bro. You gotta
Yeah,
wait till
you
you
have
come
to wait
back.
I did this
I
thing
hear
when
you.
I came back from Europe. Now this year I had like, I don't know, 12 to 16 rolls. So I just put it in the fridge, and I did this thing of like film roulette. So every time I would go to the lab, I'd be like, okay, let's see what roll this is. I'm like, okay, I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
Develop it and be
And
like, oh wow,
That's
this is what.
so cool.
And if you're
Yeah.
taking it to K-Film Supply, they make it look fire.
Especially
Yeah.
Nicky Farmer.
Yeah.
Nicky
Don't
Farmer.
ask for Nicky Farmer, bro.
One thing we never touched on is, and that you never even mentioned, is your radio show.
Oh yeah, that's true. I do it. The funny, I was thinking about it because you were talking about something earlier. I was like, it was for me in my mind. I somewhat retired music. Not that I didn't want to do it or anything like that. It became this toxic space for me in my head, Photography, on the other hand, I was meeting so many people that were on so many different levels, but they were super nice, super receptive. If I asked questions, they'd be like, yeah, sure, this is what my process, this is how I'm thinking. And people for me were just a bit more open. And I kind of like that. So with the radio show, I was like, cool, I still love music. I still want to be involved. So I reached Subtle Radio, which is in the UK. They were like, before that I was with the other radio, which we had here in Cape Town as like basically our answer to like Rinse FM in the UK.
Yeah.
So online radio show and doing so many cool things with them. Subtle reached out to me and they're like, hey, we have a radio show here. Would you like to do something with us? So I said, cool, I'm happy to do a once-off mix because I still had my show with the other radio. Did it with them. It was really cool. Got a great response. And then the other radio obviously shut down. And I was like, cool, what do I do now? So I was like, cool, I'll move over to Subtle Radio in the UK and I'll continue the show there. But the thing that I liked about radio was that it gave me a platform to still connect with artists, still reach out, still talk. And it opened so many doors to where I have people sending me music still, and it just kept me always on my toes. Because every month I know, okay, cool, I have a show coming up. I have to now go dig. And that's something I miss doing when I was playing a lot more, because I'm like, cool, I have the show coming up, and I was playing more. For me, it was a thing back then where I was playing more underground parties where it's like, cool, I played the song last week and I don't want to play it again.
Yeah.
So I was constantly digging, constantly looking for new music. And now with the radio show, I have that. But it also gave me, like I said, it gave me connection to people. So I had Sicaria Sound on. I had Karani that's now doing all the favela-based music. I had people, I told you earlier about Dangerous in Germany. I've had connections with so many people. I have already, this month's show is quite big, which is Nick Baker. That's tomorrow night's show. But it's all these people that I listen to the music and I'm always like, what's the worst that could happen? Message them, hey, I'm doing this thing, would love to have you on. The worst thing that could happen is they don't respond. And like you said as well earlier.
What is the time window for your show?
What do you mean, like an hour or?
No, like when does
When
it
does
start
it
and
air?
does it end?
In the UK, it's 11 till midnight.
So it's only an hour show.
Only an hour.
On
That would be
Wednesdays.
Every, what's tomorrow? The 3rd or the 2nd Tuesday of the month?
third.
So
Third
the,
Tuesday of the
so
month.
the 3rd Tuesday of every month is the show.
Is it similar to what Oliver Aldens did with his show? He used to have one person he did it every day, I think,
Yeah.
where he calls one person in, they do a little 1 hour mix, and then he'll talk to them at the end, ask them like 4 different questions about the mix, and then
For me, I was still trying to figure out when I started at the other radio, so I had Sicaria Sound as my first guest. And I was like, fuck, I don't know how to do this. Am I going to be talking all the time? Do I talk in between? Do I play some songs? So in the beginning, it was a lot of like workshopping till I got to the format where I'm now, because it puts less pressure on me, where I'm like, hey, this is a monthly show. This is who I have on. This is more about them. However, I'm doing the warm-up mix. This is what and everyone, like, if you listen to the show, I always say, this is what I have found over the past month. Just me digging for some stuff. And stay tuned, because the guest mix will follow that. And that's always been the format, because I feel like it didn't put pressure on me to put on this big thing. And for anyone else as well, like, you have guests where I'm like, cool, I'm very respectable of your time. So the fact that you can give me 30 minutes of a guest mix and your 4 voiceovers, even if you couldn't give me a voiceover, it's still for me a massive thing that you've already
made the time.
Exactly. So I always wanted to make it super simple, and for me it was a big thing just to keep connected with artists, but also keep digging. So I've always been digging. I've always been still chatting to people, but again, it opened these nice ways where you could just connect to people from all over the world. And I was just, I've spoken to so many people from India to Korea to America to South America to all over Europe as well. And yeah, it's just, that's what I liked about doing it.
Oh, okay.
Shout out, bro.
It's an hour, 25
You got a
minutes.
mic now,
I would say.
so you can
Cody's
say that
favorite.
loud enough for the audience.
Well, thank you so much, bro.
Thank you.
You clearly have a lot on your plate, and you seem to be taking more on your plate every day.
That's true.
But yeah, we wish you all the best, dude. I think you have so much still ahead of you, and I don't even think that any of us in this room know what it's going to be. Like, you might end up getting into movies, or you know,
That's
scoring or
That's
something
what
like
people
that.
been saying. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, what about getting into films? I'm like, yeah, it's a whole different business.
Take me with you.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Brody's last big question before the end of every show.
Oh no, we're not doing
No,
questions
Brody's-
today.
Oh, Brody
said wrap
was
it
the
up.
whole Germany question,
Oh,
bro.
okay.
Man,
That's the
Brody
whole-
wants to cut this up as soon as possible so you can get on the road.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
No, thank you guys for having me on. Like, I love always the energy between you two guys. It's very, for me, it always feels very sincere.
I was really looking forward because Kane wasn't supposed to be on the show tonight. I was
I'm
so
also
looking
quite
forward to
excited
not
about
having him on.
I
Yeah.
was also quite excited because obviously the photography, the videography,
Yeah.
that side of things. So I was really excited.
I'm sorry I didn't speak that much about it. I spoke more music. And
No, it's fine. It all,
This
as you
is a
said, it
DJ
all interlinks.
podcast.
Like
Yeah,
it all
that's true.
feeds to one another.
put
So.
that out.
Entertainment, nightlife. It all
This is
feeds
about
into
Again,
another.
for-
DJing.
So what are we doing with our guest next week then?
I can't wait.
Exactly. It's
that
not a
man.
DJ, bro.
It's a Domino's dominant.
Yeah. We're gonna do a Domino's episode.
No, for me, like I said earlier, it's like for me, everything is connected. Music,
Yeah.
the visuals, all of it feeds for me. So,
Yeah.
Nice.
Shout out, bro. Thank you for sharing your time. Thank you for sharing your knowledge.
no, thank you.
And before we wrap up,
And plug us.
where can the peeps find you online?
On Instagram, music, it's
Hey.
Ripchord _ official. And then for photography and all the visual stuff, it's by Robin Jones.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't know where else I am on.
You know TikTok.
I am actually on TikTok, but I
TikToker.
don't post.
Okay. Valid. Oh, yeah.
I am on LinkedIn.
Yeah, what's your LinkedIn? Plug us with your LinkedIn.
It's just Robin Jones.
There you go. Like, bro, that's turning into Instagram for like.
That is
like,
true.
No, it's the one, bro.
crazy.
It's now
the one.
it's the mature or the business Instagram. Like people there are like you
Yeah.
can network hard on there.
I've got a pro tip, but I'm not even gonna put it online.
He's gonna bleep it.
It's gonna be offline. If you want corporate gigs, bleep this. If you want corporate gigs and wedding gigs,
It's a good thing
Telling
I
you.
fixed my LinkedIn.
yeah.
My LinkedIn
Anyway.
would never work.
Thank you so
This
much
has
for.
been- No, that's usually how you start.
Yeah, come. This has been come.
This has been the Let's Talk Foreplay podcast. Thank you once again to Eminem Music Academy and Quena Recording Studios, home of
The DJ school.
the Eminem Pro DJ Academy. Thank you so much, guys. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next week for the last episode of the season. And then Brody can have a nice long break. He's so sick of us. Peace.